Hello, friends. I hope you're well. My name is John Costello, as you just read down below, that fancy graphic. And I'm the artistic director of the Buffalo Chamber Players. I have a fan on. I hope it's not too loud. Just give me a sec. Let me turn it off so that you can hear me. Okay, good. The computer didn't crash. That's excellent. So yeah, something new we're trying this week. It's a short stream, so we're trying new things. That was, by the way, that was what you heard was commonly known as the tune from Masterpiece Theater. But it's a piece by Jean somebody Moret. I'll look up his name. Moret. It's a rondo, and it's nice. And we did it a few weeks ago. But yeah, something new we're trying. You see that little blue window right? I can't put here. If you type anything in the comments, your comments should appear here. So please keep it clean, keep it family friendly. But it's just hello from hello from Toronto. How are you, Nicola? Good to see you. I'm sorry you sold your wonderful car. We're gonna miss it. She knows. But it's good to see you here. So yeah, feel free to chat. I just figured, and I can make it. Let me know if I should make that window a little bigger. I have the ability to do that. So for today, we have three things. So the first we're going to start is a Telemann duo or canonic sonata. Telemann and many Baroque composers did. Yes, Bob, Cookie Monster like that piece. This is good because this way you guys can see the delay from you typing to it appearing on the screen. But hopefully it's not too much of a lag. Hello from Maryland, Philip. Good to see you here. So what was, canonic sonata. So canon, it's sort of like a round. Let me take these off. I don't need these, so that way I don't shout. So you have, row, row, row your boat gently down the stream, and the next voice comes in right after, and you can just keep layering. Well, a canon is similar. I mean, you can't just keep layering the way you would a round, but a canon, especially a strict canon, the one voice starts, and then the next voice comes in at a given time and plays the same thing. And then at the end, some composers add a little something so that the voice that started can line up with the trailing voice. But at any rate, let me bring up an example of the one that I recorded. This is here. And yeah, feel free to ask any questions if I miss something or something doesn't make sense, especially this shorter stream. I think we can go. Hello, Lynn. Yes, this is the highlight of my week too. And this week's technically an off week. We're not doing anything huge. So thanks for coming here. Hey, Tara, good to see you. I hope you're feeling well. So here we have, this is sonata number 2. Oh, you can't see my mouse pointer. I'm sorry, but I'm pointing at it with my mouth here. So as you see, it says violin 1 and 2. It's because the violin plays from the same part. So I'm a violist, but I do own a violin from my violin years. So I'll just play like the first couple of measures. Uh, so that I played a little more than two measures. So um, thanks, Phil. Yeah, the green sofa is the highlight, actually. Yeah, it's a famous sofa. Paul Curtin's here. Paul, thank you for providing the sofa, actually. He's responsible for it. So as you see, the first voice, and then when you get to the, after, I don't know how many of you read music, but on the second measure above the bar line, I wish I could point to it. It's over that way. There's a little squiggly sign that it tells the next voice to start at that moment. So the first voice will, and then the second violin will come in at that place at the beginning. And both voices will play through the whole movement like that. And, Telemann in this case indicates where the second voice should enter. But a lot of composers back then, they were, because, this is sort of a bit of showing off your compositional skills, that you can write a piece that works if you shift it by a measure or by however many beats. But some composers also wrote what's called a puzzle canon. And a puzzle or riddle canon would be just a sheet of music, because here both players play from the same part. Well, a puzzle canon, you would play from the same part, only there would not be an indication of where you're supposed to come in with the second voice. So that made it, that's where the puzzle came in. So obviously not only did you have to be a good performer to do it, but also you have to have a good knowledge of theory and see. And I'm sure there's some, probably in Bach's case, that and even Mozart probably, that there might be more than one solution to the puzzle. There's I think Mozart wrote it's not a canon, but it's sort of the retrograde or crab canon. Crab canon, both voices start at one starts at the end and the other one starts at the beginning, and they play through the piece and they end in the opposite ends, and somehow it all lines up. Bach does that a lot. But also, I think it's Mozart that wrote the mirror canon, which is a piece of music that you put between the two players on a table, and each player reads it. So it's upside down for the other person, and they read it as they would a normal piece, and somehow it works together. I think that's Mozart. If not, it might be Haydn. Hello, Byron. Good to see you here. So feel free to ask questions or chat, but here's a recording that I made today of this piece. You see here just the beginning, but I recorded the whole thing. And just so you know, normally when I do multi-tracking videos with the chamber players, we each record our parts and then I put them together and I adjust things to make them line up. Well, here to really emphasize the canon, that it's really identical from beginning to end. Both players are playing the same part, only a measure apart, as you see in the part. By the way, it says spirituoso, and in parentheses, broad tempo. That is not the translation for spirituoso. This came from IMSLP, which is an online repository for public domain music. But at any rate, the video that I made, I actually just recorded once, myself playing this, and then I went back while editing, like I doubled it and just shifted it. So I didn't bother to try to line things up better. So there's some things that could have lined up better had I been playing it with somebody else to adjust, but this is just a raw take, so you hear it. So enjoy it. Here we go. So we're back. Yeah, so that's Telemann Sonata number 2, Canonic Sonata number 2. Hey Betsy, how are you? Thanks Betsy for tuning in. And Betsy actually, she would know that these are also done as flute sonatas, so they can be played or on recorder. My friend James Young, thank you, who played the recorder. I showed some of his video, or one of his videos a couple weeks ago. He's recorded these as well. They work well on many instruments. I'm sure they're arranged for viola, but the one I have is for violin. And I figured it might be kind of nice on a off week to feature my violin playing. I apologize, I'm not a violinist. And everybody knows the difference between a violin and a viola. The viola burns longer, and it's true. I've tried it and checked it, and it's true. So that's why I didn't have a viola today to play this on. So yeah, so some things weren't perfectly lining up, and that's just, again, it's difficult to play my part without hearing the what comes a measure later. So if I were to slow down or speed up a little bit, it affects it a little bit. But I think it came out very well, and hopefully you got to a good sense of what the piece is like. So yes, let's see. So next we're gonna move to Bach. I promised it would be a little Bach, and this is back then a way that a lot of composers learn about music, or part of their training, was actually just copying parts, copying scores, copying, and there's a 16th century chorale, and the German is "An Wasserflüssen Babylon," or "On the Waters of Babylon," and 16th century chorale, Lutheran chorale, Lutheran hymn, and various composers, including Pachelbel, arranged them, arranged them or set them, did settings of them, and a 15-year-old or 16-year-old Bach, Johann Sebastian Bach, copied Pachelbel's, and another famous, I forget the name of the organist, but there was another famous arrangement of it at the time that was very flourishy and kind of showy. And by the way, let me know if I should make the comment window bigger on the screen. Can you see it? I'm just curious. If not, I can make it bigger or smaller, or take it away, or whatever. Or you don't have to watch me, and you can just watch the comments so you see yourselves type. At any rate, Bach eventually, so as a teenager, he copied this, but later in life, he did his own arrangement or setting of the chorale on the waters of Babylon. And it's a beautiful chorale. It talks about, it's a setting, an adaptation of a psalm that talks about the Israelites in exile in Babylon at the water. I think Abby said they even talk about putting down their harps, and it's a sad but beautiful imagery. And Bach, when he did his own setting of it, it's a much more somber. So it's not a showy piece. It's just a beautiful setting, and it's normally done on organ. But instead of doing it on organ today, we have Abigail Rockwood on piano and Ellen Barnum on bassoon. Because if you look at an organ part, it's usually 3 lines. You have 2 for the left and right and left hands, and then you have a bottom line for the feet, for the pedal board. So in this case, I believe the bassoon is playing the middle line. So enjoy it. It's a nice setting. I forget if it's 4 minutes or so, but you'll love it. Yay! Oh, why is that thing saying that? The chat is ready to display message. There are the messages. Yay! Yeah, Abby and Ellen, thank you. It sounded great, and it's beautiful. And yeah, that was Bach's setting of the chorale on the waters of Babylon. 16th century, if you just tune in, 16th century Lutheran hymn that Bach set. Another many composers set. So yeah, it was beautiful. Ellen, I hope you're in the. Yeah, I think you were in the comments. It was beautiful. Now we're on to another composer. Let's see. I just gotta look up his full name. You'll see it in the video, but he's we played one of his of the movements of the string quartet. I think a month or two. I don't know. I can't remember anything anymore. But some time ago, they call him the Spanish Mozart. In that he lived a little after Mozart, 1806, but died in 1826. He wasn't even quite 20 when he died. And Spanish composer. His name is Juan Crisostomo Jacobo Antonio de Arriaga y Balzola, but we just know him as Arriaga. That's or Juan Crisostomo Arriaga. He wrote this when he was, well, obviously he wrote it when he was a teenager because he passed away while still a teenager. But I think he might have been 16 when he wrote this string quartet, his second string quartet. He wrote 3 of them, and this is from the second movement, which is a theme and variations. And it just really gives you a taste of the brilliance of this young composer, Spanish composer. It just, you know, I hate to say at times it sounds like Haydn, at times it sounds like Mozart, only maybe at times a little more forward thinking, because he just really had a voice of his own. But I think the movement's full of beauty, it's full of humor, full of sadness, a very wide range of emotions in the theme and especially in the variations. I think, and yeah, he throws. It's almost like he throws even the kitchen, everything but or even including the kitchen sink. So this was from a few years ago, I believe March of 2019, which seems like a very long time ago, at the Albright Knox Art Gallery. So enjoy. Uh, yeah, welcome back. That was the second movement of the second string quartet by Arriaga, Spanish composer. And I was chatting with my friend Paul down in Baltimore in the chat. Yeah, it's tragic. I mean, he showed early talent, and his father paid for him to go to the Paris Conservatory in Paris, of course. And while there, I mean, people complimented his compositional skills, and he wrote three string quartets. He wrote an opera and some other works, but not a lot. And 10 days before his 20th birthday, he died, and they just say some kind of long breathing ailment, or it was probably tuberculosis. That's what a lot of people died of back then, and was buried in an unmarked grave. So yeah, he wasn't famous or anything. But I think his string quartets are great. It's sort of like Mendelssohn. Mendelssohn wrote his octet when he was 16, and some people, including myself, would say that some of his best writing was done when he was a teenager. So yeah, I think Arriaga, a quartet like that. I think somebody writes a quartet like that, or three quartets like that. I think it may take some time, but history will remember them as definitely gifted composers, because it's beautiful writing. So yeah, guys, I'm sorry that this is a short stream, and it's already past the half-hour mark. I try to start on time, but like I always do. And look, I put my face in there so I can talk to you while I say it. I want to thank our sponsor, our corporate sponsor, ABC Omega, and our foundation sponsors, the Collin Foundation here in Buffalo, and also the New York State Council on the Arts. They make our concerts possible. And as always, also thank you to the viewers like you that support us. There's I put our website if you want to support us, and you might say, well, what do you need money for? Well, one thing we're not getting now from doing concerts is concert revenue. We do these because we love doing these for you, and but certainly we started even compensating our musicians for their streams. There's equipment to purchase, and there's no hurry. June 30th is the close of our fiscal year, so if you want to put in a gift before the end of the year, our fiscal year, you're welcome to do so. And if not, we can wait till July 1st. We'll ask you again, and you can get us started on a good footing for the new year. So yeah, thank you so much. I'm hearing thank you everybody that in the chat. Thanks for stopping by. Like I said, it's a small stream, and we'll have something else next week. I'm trying to figure out what we may have. My neighbor, and many of you know him, Ron Martin, is a composer, and I might have him on and feature one of his works, or a few of us works. We'll see, and we can just chat about the compositional style. Again, a short stream again next Thursday. Nothing too long. Oh, and before I forget, I'll put the link over here. Let me make sure that's what I'm posting. I just posted a link in the comments. The Buffalo Philharmonic Chorus is having their first kind of like beer choir happy hour thing. There's going to be chat, some local singers and things talking about music and beer and stuff. And I believe there's going to be some singing. That's at 8 o'clock tonight. So do stop by and say in the chat that the chamber player sent you. That always goes a long way. And yeah, thank you very much. And we'll see you next week. Thanks for tuning in. And as always, stay safe, stay healthy. And if you can, make whoopee.